What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we need to break down everything we know about patch 5.08, including the new tournament mode, changes to many different agents, and what we know about future buffs and nerfs. There's a lot we got to talk about. We are excited to introduce you to our brand new sponsorship, Outplayed. Now, Outplayed is the ultimate video capturing app for gamers, and you're going to be able to automatically capture your best moments and biggest plays, and even anything else with just the press of a button. Whether it's an ace, a sick goal, or maybe you completely whiffed and you want to share it with your friends, Outplayed makes sure you never miss an interesting moment, and then you could share it very easily with Discord, YouTube, or anywhere else. On top of that, there's a built-in video editor, so you can edit your videos from within the app, meaning you can record and output a ton of content, sending it to your friends, building up your channel, or anything else. Outplayed supports over 300 games, so what are you waiting for? Go check it out right now in the download links below. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about is the tournament system. And according to Valor Leaks, the tournament system is actually prepping to launch incredibly soon. It could be either next act or even as soon as next patch, although unlikely. We have really no idea when Riot's gonna roll this thing out, but we do know it's coming any patch now, and I'm incredibly excited. Now, you're gonna be able to play in leagues to earn points, and there will be a minimal level to play in tournaments. You'll be placed in divisions split by different numbers, division 1, 2, and 3. So basically, from my understanding of this, you're going to play in leagues, earn points, you build up that point level, and then you're gonna qualify for certain tournaments. And depending on how you place in those tournaments and the leagues, you might qualify for some bigger events. And of course, we already know that the tournament system is gonna have a direct route into tier 3, tier 2, and eventually tier 1 through the Ascension. And I also know that one, we are getting rewards for playing in these events. We don't know exactly what those rewards will be that you earn, but first off could be cosmetics that they give us, which everyone loves cosmetics, and I think just getting a group of friends together to play in these tournaments just to earn the cosmetics would be something that a lot of people would want to do. And then the step above that would be some sort of monetary reward, but I wouldn't imagine that they pay out anything until you get to the higher level tournaments. But once you do, perhaps, we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm incredibly excited to play in the tournament mode. And I know for a fact that I'm gonna run it down with random people, not any friends, because I don't have any, but I can definitely pull together some just random people in my games, I guess. But definitely let me know how you feel about the tournament mode. Are you gonna put together a team to play in it? Or are you going to avoid it altogether? Let me know how you feel down below. Now, we just got some pretty huge changes. We got Reyna buffs, Yoru buffs, and of course, we got those huge initiator changes to Skye and KO. And they kind of came out of nowhere. No one really knew that these buffs were coming. In fact, Riot themselves said that Fade and Chamber were gonna get nerfs, and Cypher was slated to get buffs, and they didn't say anything about these characters. The only thing they did say a little bit about KO, how he had a low win rate a little bit in ranked play, and that's all they said, and they might make him easier to use in some capacity. And then they don't do any of the nerfs that are slated and buffs that are slated, and they do like some completely different stuff that has probably been in the works for quite some time. But that doesn't mean that those slated nerfs and buffs are gone, and I do believe that we're still going to get a Fade nerf and a Chamber nerf. However, the interesting thing is the majority of people think that Chamber doesn't need a nerf anymore. A lot of people just want Sentinel buffs, and they no longer think that Chamber is overpowered. And Riot has said multiple times, even in the article where they talked about potential Chamber nerfs, that they nerf things based on perception. And the perception is Chamber is way overpowered, at least it was, but that seems to be fading away. And especially with buffing characters like Reyna and initiators that are a little bit better at countering op angles, it doesn't necessarily seem like Chamber needs that nerf. But it still would be okay if it wasn't something that was too brutal to the character. I think it would be fine to nerf him in a small capacity. Maybe make it so he doesn't have all those bullets in his ult. Maybe make it so he has to get kills in order to get more bullets. Maybe make it so he can't fire as fast with his ultimate, and there's a little bit more delay in between shots. You could do any of those things, or honestly, the best solution might be to do none of those things and just keep Chamber how he is and buff some of the other characters to match and reach that power level at least a little bit. But you tell me, how do you feel about Chamber in his current state? Do you think he needs nerfs? And if you did nerf him, how would you nerf him and why? Let me know down below. Now, as far as the Fade changes are concerned, I would be incredibly surprised if they go back on the changes that they're going to make to nerf Fade, specifically her dog, her Prowler is what is going to be targeted. I do think it's one of the most powerful abilities in the game, especially for ranked, and Fade is plenty good even with some nerfs. Like, she is one of the most powerful characters in the game by far. I honestly think she is one of the most powerful characters in the game, and I would not be surprised if they nerf her in this next patch. I know a lot of you Fade mains are going to be against it, but keep in mind that Fade will still be very, very good. Even if they nerf her by quite a bit, she will still be one of the best agents in the game. Like, they would have to fundamentally change a lot about her in order to have any meaningful impact over where she sits on the tier of agents. But right now, she's so powerful that she sits quite a bit above a lot of agents. And I think that's really what they're trying to target. But also, just like with Chamber, let me know how you feel about Fade. And do you think that she needs changes or nerfs or anything like that? I want to hear what you have to say about it. Now, of course, the big elephant in the room is none other than Cypher, who for some reason still hasn't gotten any buffs. Like, the character has needed buffs for a very long time, and he just gets no freaking love. He's not a character that needs a rework. He has a perfectly fine kit as is. He just needs to be buffed in some way. Just give him a little bit, give him some love. And I'm actually very surprised that they didn't do it this patch, but I do suspect that they will do it at some point. I think that they are just trying to figure out exactly how they can buff him to the point where he's good, but maybe not frustrating to play against. That can be a problem with characters like Cypher, where if you make him too good and too strong at some of the maps that he's not that normally good at, then on maps that he is normally good at, he becomes oppressive. And that's always a slippery slope with a character like Cypher. And I think that they're trying to avoid that right now, especially considering right now, the meta is pretty good. Like, the meta is pretty stable, and I think most people enjoy the meta and the gameplay of Valorant. And Cypher has the potential to mix that up in a large way, especially if you buffed him too much and he became meta, for instance. That being said, buff my boy, buff Cypher already. We need the damn buffs. And I think that there are some other characters that you could also buff. There could be an argument to be made about Killjoy. Killjoy in particular sees some sporadic amounts of pick rate, but she ultimately is pretty weak compared to her Sentinel opposition, of course, and just a lot of the agents in the game. I really would like to see her range get increased where she could stay farther away from her utility and keep them on, or just remove the range altogether. I know that that might not be the most optimal, but at least let her play like maybe mid, right? If she has her stuff set up on B, she could push and lurk up mid and her thing would still be on. But if she went all the way to A, then it would turn off. Like, that seems more reasonable to me than what it is right now, but I don't really exactly know the direction I would move with the character. It's another one of those characters like Cypher where if she becomes too strong, she's oppressive. They have to be kind of careful with how they buff and nerf characters like these. Now, besides that, I think we're actually in a pretty good place balance-wise. I do know that the new character is definitely going to mix things up immensely because it's going to challenge Viper for her role. And controllers have some of the highest potential to warp the meta around them if they are very powerful or unique in some way. So we definitely got to keep our eye on her, and she's coming before too long. But let me know if you could change any character in the game. You had full reign to do whatever you want. What would you do and why? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you next time.